but I feel like if we want to compare, I feel like that's where the comparison stops itself because once again, like I've said, like if you compare some to every like damn near every other anime you've seen, like especially big shonens, he doesn't feel like, oh, he's this chosen one. Oh, he's this special guy. He feels like a dude that has like a very strong system of right and wrong. He has a very strong morality system.
Yeah.
And so because of that, he's willing to go that extra mile because his morality is so strong and because he believes in fighting for his right and fighting for his friends and shit of that nature. But the show asks you, unlike a lot of other like shonen base, how far are you willing to go for your belief? Like, you believe this is right, this is wrong. How far are you willing to go for it? What are you willing to do to make that a reality? And even I think like at the end of the season when he's fighting, I don't remember the guy's name, the patchy face motherfucker.
Mahito?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he's fighting him, and you see that instance, like, hey, look, this right or wrong shit right now don't matter. I see you again, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. You come back in another form, I'm gonna beat the shit out of that form. If I die and come back and see your bitch ass, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. Like, that was one of the hardest scenes. He's like, I'm gonna beat, like, no matter what happens in life, I'm going to be the one to stomp your ass out. And you're like, wow, he said that with his entire soul. Terrifying.
Yeah.
Terrifying. But also, that I'm more mad they gave us a time skip, but we don't know how long the time skip was. And there leaves so many questions that need to be answered because of the time skip at the ending.
Oh yeah, between season 1 and season 2, we're like,
oh no, from season 2 to season 3, like the ending of like the end report of what happened. He's like, so yeah, this person's in jail. This person's in jail. This man is kind of fucking dead right now, and is the main guy's fault. Like, what the fuck do you mean by that?
Yeah, yeah, it's frustrating to see it because throughout the whole show, even with like Satoru Goju, he talks about how he wants to kill all the higher ups, but he can't because they'll just be replaced by people who withhold the same system. How he's been alone all of his life because he's had to be the strongest sorcerer and he hasn't had anyone to relate to or talk to, so he's isolated himself for so long. So now he's trying to like foster this kind of alliance with all these other sorcerers so they all can rely on each other to be there for one another, so they don't feel alone and they don't feel stifled by the system that these sorcerers have to be in place because they have to fight these cursed spirits. The public doesn't know about the cursed spirits. The high school and the system that the high school works within wants to get rid of these cursed spirits but don't want to train people on how to fight these cursed spirits, and normal people are scared of people who can utilize cursed energy. And so there's this whole thing going on within their country, and now because there's been like a hole blown in the main city, they're like, well, now we have to either tell people that they're cursed spirits, or we have to teach them, or we have to do something else. We have to figure something else out because this has been a secret, been held for so long, and if people find out about it, the rest of the world will find out about it, and then what do we do about that? And now,
yeah, I think that was like one of my favorite like actual questions that was being asked in the show, and they explained very well why, because it like in the world itself it works. Like, so you're telling me, oh, Japan has this unknown extra source power. Don't you think other countries get very fearful of us, especially if those countries are very militarized? The way they hit America on the fucking head on that one was fucking wild, by the way. They just said, hey, if they find out that we got shit that they can't touch, we're not gonna last long, baby.
No.
That was a wildest shit. They did a very, which also I feel like another anime that does a very good job at that is also My Hero Academia, which once again, once you catch up, let me know. They just they're doing a great job explaining the world on why it feels so isolated.
Yes.
You know? And I think that's very cool too.
Yeah. And I feel like with the ending of season 2, I understand why they did the exposition route when it comes to like wrapping everything up, because they spent so much time in like this battle, in this like melee with like all these characters and all these spirits. So like you have to realize like what is the real world consequence of everything that's going on, because because when it comes to like her spirits, it has affected other people, like in season 1 it did, but it's easy to chalk that up to legend, chalk it up to rumor and just curses and something that is just like myth and not really real. And there are so many isolated incidents that's not something that really has to concern people. And now we've gotten to the point where it's happened in a huge metropolitan area and like a busy train station where people are going to wonder like, what happened to my loved one when they're supposed to get on the train and they didn't get off? What happened to that building? Why is there a giant hole in the middle of the city? What's going on?
They really went like, hey buddy, you gotta find out. And so like that's why I know for a fact I'm gonna read the manga, because one thing about me, I can't wait anymore. Right, like back in the day I was able like, okay cool, I'll catch it when it comes out type shit, right? But now, especially when the stakes are so high, the information is so juicy, the detail is so just there. And also like the Shonen Jump app's like $2.99 a month. It's kind of hard not to like want to read it.
Right. Me personally, because I had found out that the culling game is the next arc for season 3, I want to like just wait for it to come to Crunchyroll, because I already did a little bit of research about what the culling game is and like the rules of it and like the new characters that may be introduced in next season. And I'm like, you know what? I actually have so many things to watch, and reading a manga that's going to stress me out is just not worth it. So y'all got that.
And for me, like, I don't really, okay, so I think the only thing I'm truly watching right now is a show called Dimension 20. That's kind of like
my I'm currently
watching Fantasy High right now. I'm currently watching the most recent season of Fantasy High at the moment. Like legit, when we stopped, I was just in the middle of watching that shit with my girlfriend. Like we were literally watching that shit.
I love Fantasy High. I love Dimension 20. I love Dropout. I love Bernally Mulligan. I love Escape from the Blood Keep. I love I can't believe you just said that. Oh my god.
Yeah. So that's like been like my show of choice at the moment.
Yeah.
It's like rest of the time if I'm not doing stuff like this, I'm streaming, I'm making videos, I'm at work, stuff like that. But yeah. So I'm very intrigued to see what's going to happen next.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I do want to talk a little bit about Megumi, because I think he's an interesting character on the show, but I feel like it was, I don't know, I was trying to figure him out. You know what I mean?
Bro, we gotta remember which was Megumi again, because I know the character you're talking about, I just can't put name to face.
He's the guy with the dark spiky hair. Yeah.
I personally feel like in this series, I feel like in this season, we got more of him in a very positive way. Like I feel like the first season, it just painted like, oh, I'm a breedy little asshole. Like it's like, huh. Like it gave me those kind of vibes off of him, right?
Yeah.
But seeing him like actually not only fighting, but also just kind of being more of a person before everything pops the fuck off, I was like, oh, I actually fucks with this character, right? And even seeing him as a kid, it's like, oh, so he's always been like this. This isn't just like a him being a teenager thing. This is just him being him.
Yeah.
And it was really great. And like seeing him like not even like even in the face of basically defeat, he's still like, I'm not gonna make this shit easy for the guy.
Right.
You know, it was very awesome to see that.
Yeah, I think that with Megumi, it's very interesting because he's someone who trained alongside Goju, and my initial thought was that if you train along the strongest sorcerer, I would assume that you would have some kind of strength. Like you would have like a special skill that like not many other people do have. And when Yuji first told him to like run, when they first met like that cursed spirit that had like I guess like the essence of sucking his finger, and he ran, I was like, bro, don't leave him alone. He just got here. Like, you've been doing this. Like, why can't you help your man out? You know what I mean? Like, why are we running? Go back.
Because at the end of the day, bro, he's like, even at the end of the day, you gotta understand, he may have been out here doing all the other. He's still not at that spacing just yet. He's still not. He has been trained up enough for that kind of fight. At least the other guy got the power of like, oh, I have at least one of the energy of a finger inside of me, and I'm able to kind of rock with that power a little bit.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. And I actually loved it at the end of season 1 when he did his domain expansion against that cursed spirit, because at that point it's like, you can't die. You know, you have to like put up or shut up. Like, we can't run this time around. You know, like, you are on your last leg. And I think it's very interesting, especially in the baseball scene. In the baseball scene, you kind of like understand each character just by the way they play baseball. Megumi, he literally just putts the ball just so his classmates can get to the next base. He doesn't strike out. He doesn't hit the ball. He doesn't try to hit a home run the same way.
He's like a very big, I'm going to play it safe kind of guy. But it's like, how long, especially when you're having these kind of battles, you're having this kind of job, how long is playing it safe going to work for you, baby? It ain't. Like, you got to be, after a while, you got to get on that nut up or shut up type shit. Because it's
like, you really have to, exactly, you have to nut up or shut up. You have to, like, put it out there, you know, like, we can't just be half-assing our way through this. Like, eventually the spirits are going to get stronger and the stakes are going to get higher, and you already know that so many people who become Jujutsu sorcerers either die or they leave because they can't take it. You're the only people who can fight these.
Terrible.
I don't even know if they get paid. If I'm being
like, they're actually getting paid, but for a lot of sorcerers, the pay ain't that good.
Yeah.
And also, you're literally doing the worst kind of job in human history, day in and day out. That's kind of why Gojo's homie fucking left. Yeah. You're doing the same job day in, day out, the worst kind of job. There's no kind of thanks. There's no kind of appreciation. And you're at the wire, you're like, what's the fucking point? Why am I saving motherfuckers who don't even really fuck with us for real? Like they find out, they'll get freaked out and try to kill us, but I have to save them. Man, fuck that. Why don't we just have the people who know, who can see the shit, and everybody else kick rocks?
Right.
I feel like once again, this is. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, once again, the system itself is the reason why they have the villains they have. Right? Like, none of this would be happening if the higher ups, those who are in power, would actually have been trying to reach out or try to do something to make this shit easier for their workers. Once again, this is a worker strike issue when you think about it long enough, because it's like, hey, let's actually give these motherfuckers the things they need. Let's take them to therapy. Let's pay for this. Let's get a lot of more of an actual system going on to make sure those who are doing this very dangerous, very terrible job are being treated correctly.
I mean,
just like most major companies, it ain't fucking happening.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And it sucks because you're right. These kids have the worst job. And the same thing with Gato. Like, he literally had to eat cursed spirits. Like, that's his power. Like, that's what he does. That's his cursed skill.
Yeah.
And you can only do that for so long. You know?
Yeah, I think the little monologue he gave when he was explaining how terrible the shit tastes. At first I was like, what the fuck? Until I realized, no, he's eating them. He's absorbing the shits. That's why that's another reason why it drove him so fucking mad, because he's eating this. A lot of other sorcerers aren't doing that. They're just killing them, call it a day. This man has him absorb this shit. He tastes every single foul, disgusting thing.
Yeah. I mean, I completely agree with you, and I feel like Megumi is similar to Gato, except the fact that, like, at least Megumi had people when he was becoming a Jujutsu sorcerer who, like, were his friends and, like, he cared about, and he wasn't alone in the way that Gato was, because after Gojo becomes the strongest sorcerer, he's going on missions by himself, and then Shoko is doing her own thing, and he's on his own eating all these weak spirits. And with Megumi, he didn't want to become a sorcerer. Like, he hates people who think that they are, like, who are bullies. He started fighting people in middle school, becoming a troublemaker himself. And then when his own sister becomes cursed and is alive but won't wake up, he's like, well, I mean, I guess I have to, because I need to figure out what's going on with her. Like, I need to find the guy who did this to her. And after that, he soon realizes that, like, you know, he's a jujutsu sorcerer. He's not a hero. He's not someone who is like meant to be idolized or like put on a pedestal. He's just doing what he has to do so that more people don't die. You know what I mean?
But like, I think the wildest shit that was like very fucking interesting was also to find out that I think it's Gato, correct?
Yeah, Gato.
That like technically he ain't the villain of season 2. Like,
Is he not?
okay, remember if you saw those little scars
Oh
across
yeah, yeah,
the top of
yeah,
his
yeah,
head,
yeah.
yeah,
No, you're right. You're right. You're
like
right.
the spirit itself is already gone. The body, the vessel, everything. That's all. That's somebody else put that man like a whole nother cursed brain in that man's
Okay,
shit.
so this is why you need to watch the movie.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep. Like
so
they explained who he was, and like
yeah,
when I heard this shit, I was like, first of all, yo, that's crazy as fuck. Cause like that's a wild shit. So
mm-hmm.
yeah, now knowing that once again, this is a movie character that ties in directly into like that was important for that. I now gives me more reason to watch the actual movie itself. Like I said, I
Yeah,
might watch that tonight.
yeah. So the spirit that's inside of Geitu's body is Kenjaku, who is this cursed spirit who was a sorcerer, I believe, and he was like awful. He was terrible. He
Yeah,
used to implant his brain into sorcerers' bodies, and that was like his curse technique, and he would take their skill. And when he found Gato, essentially like in the movie, Gato has taken up the mantle of the religious society that was trying to take
yeah,
out Rika. Yeah. And
yeah. I remember that part.
yeah, and in the movie, there is basically this new kid, Yuta, who has this cursed spirit that is the spirit of his best friend who died when he was really young. And the friend is like attached to him. So Goju finds the kid, brings him to Jujutsu High so he can learn how to utilize this energy. And Geitu is like utilizing his power, trying to figure out how to become like the antagonist. I'm not really sure, but he has like this group of people, and he decides to like wreak havoc on a metropolitan city while he goes to Jujutsu High to get the spirit that's attached to Yuta. And at the end of the movie, essentially Geitu has been defeated by Yuta, and he's on his last leg. It's like it's lights out for him, you know.
And that's how old buddy gets a hold of him.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. That makes sense now. That actually makes a lot of sense. Because like when Gojo stopped and saw him, he was like, "Hey, motherfucker!" Like that's what caught him. He was like,
yes,
"Ain't you supposed to be dead?"
yes,
Yo,
yes.
side note. There's a company that like has an like like the like how your how like your iPhone cases be having like different shit or whatever. There's a company that has an iPhone case for this, but it's the brick.
No,
Like, yeah, yeah.
I
It's the
actually
closed up, eyes open, all that shit.
no. I actually couldn't have that in my room because that would just that would be too much. That would be too much for me. I actually can't. Oh my gosh, the way I'm holding out hope for Gojo.
I don't. I think if I remember correctly, the main guy, like the writer, I think he said he's not gonna be in season 3.
Yeah, I mean I figured that, you know, like with JJK, the show being that it is, after season 2, I was like, they're not giving us happy endings. They're not giving us like, you know,
Yeah,
they're not making it easy on us. Like I already watched a video about a guy who's deconstructing like the culling arc with the show and how the show could follow up with the culling arc, and he was talking about Nabura and how in the manga it's never revealed whether or not she's alive or if she's passed on, and she's meant to be like the grounding force for Megumi and Yuji. So going into the culling game arc, they've resigned themselves to just being like cogs in the machine. They're like, I'm just gonna kill, and if anything good comes out of it, it comes out of it. But like, I cannot do this morality. I can't do this humanity. I can't do this nice shit. I can't do it anymore. I'm gonna play the game, and if I die, I die. If I get out of it, we're just gonna see another day. And Naburo was supposed to be like the grounding humanity for them, because she's just a country girl. She just wants to see the city, and she just so happens to know how to do this.
Like, bro, I go. She was personally for me, she was one of my favorite characters.
Yeah,
just on the back of like, yeah, she's this super girly girl. She's like, oh, shopping and da 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 da. Yeah. But like, don't get it fucked up. She really got hands.
Yes.
Like the little hammer shit, bro. That shit's hard as hell. Yeah. So like, okay, so before season 2 came out, Fortnite did a collab with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got the skins, you got all that, but you also got to use the weapons, right? So you had the Goju ability and you had her ability, like that was like active, you can use. When I tell you the way I was out here just dinging motherfuckers with her shit, because like you could hit it one time, it doesn't hit, then also the explosion damage, which is also very true to her fucking powers in the fucking anime. And her fight scenes were hard, all this other shit. So when like the moment you saw Buddy play hot tag with her face, I was like, oh, they already showed her backstory. So like, even if she's not alive, you saw what happened the moment that fucking the main character saw her face. The moment you like, we didn't see but he saw it. Yeah, and you saw what happened directly after that.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, you know what? We over here talking this good talk. I'm literally about to like reinstall this shit right now. Like as we're talking, like Shonen Jump is actively being reinstalled right now. I'm not joking.
I have to say, another thing I love about JJK is all the characters in the show, because they're all very unique in themselves. They're all very funny, and I love Panda. I think he's hilarious. I like the kid that can only say the ingredients. Yes. Yeah.
Bro, someone said some shit about him that I still can't get over. It was like, what if he just looked at you one day and said, shit yourself? Like,
don't.
Someone just, like, it's a meme of him, like, what if this man just said, and he's like, he pulled his mouth, caption, shit yourself. I'm like, that's terrifying. That's terrifying.
New fear unlocked.
New fear unlocked. You just mind your business. This is like, yeah, I'm gonna beat his ass. Shit yourself.
Gosh. Okay, but I actually really, really liked Maki, and I do wish that we got to know her a little bit more. You do get to see a lot more of her or understand more of her backstory in the movie, which is great. But I think in the show, we just kind of like see, she's just kind of like a secondary character, you know. But she has a very interesting story, because, you know, she left the Zenin clan, and even though she doesn't have cursed energy herself, she still is at Jujutsu High, and she still knows her stuff. Like, she can still very much fight. She's still very capable, obviously. And it's rough because, like, in season 2, a lot of people die, and like when we get like, no, I don't know if anyone's been confirmed, but I feel like Maki's dead. That just makes me like, that makes me even more disappointed, because she, over everything, wanted to prove her family wrong, and she wanted to say, I am going to be the best Jujutsu sorcerer there ever was, and show you guys that you're wrong.
I think, but at that situation, I think they definitely did not show her dying. Yeah. You know, but they also didn't show her living. So it's like, we don't know 100%. Like, I feel like the characters they want you to know that are dead are definitely dead. Everybody else is up in the air. You feel me?
Yeah. Like, I mean, we already know that, like, Megumi is alive. Like, we already know that. Yeah. Yeah. I think there's a possibility that Maki will be alive, because I do think that her character continues to show up in the manga, and I think there's like a drastic change in who she is as a person, which I do want to see in the show, because I feel like that would be really exciting.
Oh no, most definitely. I believe that 1,000%, because I'm just sitting here like, I need more. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like tonight, once everything is said and done, because I want you to know and understand. You probably can't see it on the screen, but I did just reinstall it. Like, so like, I got some reading to do tonight. You feel me? Oh my god.